Hey guys, Garth97 again. This time with a review of the 144th scale high-grade Gundam Thunderbolt full armor Gundam. And as the grade already indicated, from the Gundam Thunderbolt manga. And man, this is one hell of a packing machine. Right now, it looks a little bit underarmed, but that's definitely gonna change in the very immediate future. Let's have a look at the colors first. We're getting a very dark blue for most of the mobile suit, set off by a very vibrant white, also used in a lot of the parts. Then a very dark red, which looks really nice, and actually quite a lot of these parts are molded in red. We've got the vents here, little thrusters on the arms, the bigger thrusters on the legs, bottom of the feet, and on the back we also have those, I don't know what they are, those pouches, whatever. We've got the red on the belly there, and all the other reds are unfortunately stickers. Then we're also getting 3 shades of gray. We're getting the dark gray, which is actually a little bit brown as well, on the barrel of the twin beam cannon, on the missile launcher, also on the bottom of the feet. Then we're getting the medium gray, which is used for those joints, which actually look like they're kind of a cloth or a synthetic material, something soft or maybe a kind of rubber. Anyways, it looks pretty damn realistic, and they've got some really nice detail on there. And then we've got the lighter gray, which is used for the arm manipulators, the triggers, and a few other pieces. Then, moving on to the stickers, and this is where one of the biggest disappointments of this kit happened. You will immediately notice on the right side, those are 4 humongous stickers. And yes, when you look at the shield, this entire orange piece is one giant sticker. It also seems to be a little bit too small on the sides here. When you line it up on one side, it just seems to be not even a millimeter too short, but just like a little bit too short. So it's a little bit of a shame. Also, kind of tends to go off at the sides. But yeah, this really should have been a part. And you'll immediately also see that there's a big white thing on here, the EFSF symbol. Well, not really a symbol, but there was EFSF, Earth Federation Space Force. The good news is that they do give you a separate sticker sheet where you can still put this sticker on there, so at least props for that. So they're not forcing you to use this if you want to have that sticker on there. And then of course we're getting a lot of smaller stickers. I mean, a lot of the red you'll see on the mobile suit. All these little thrusters here are different stickers. These, once again, they're not the best stickers, but they do their job. Also, the good news about these little red ones is that actually underneath, well, when you put the white part on it, there are actually holes in there, and there's the little thrusters are in blue, so that means that they are very easy to paint. So even though they're not in red, props to Bandai for actually making the colors separate. So that's a really good thing they did there. And then our stickers are of course the eyes, which are a really cool golden color, and also the front and the back camera are the same gold. Then we're getting white on the tops of the side armor. Well, the skirt armor seems to stay on remarkably well. Wasn't really expecting them to stay on that well, considering they are a round surface, but hey, they actually stay on much better than the shields. Like I said, I totally wasn't expecting that. So we have large amount of red stickers, and then they go on here. All those red stickers you see, well, all the red you see on these things are stickers. These are fortunately parts, and like I said, we do actually get a nice amount of red parts. So this might have been better as a separate part, but hey, those are some really small parts. Then we're getting the light gray stickers on here, a lot of little ones, but hey, same goes with those little red stickers. could we really expect them to mold them in parts? Well, these little red ones would have been, the Gym Custom did it, but that was really an exception, so we can definitely let those little stickers slide. The one big exception being, of course, those giant stickers here. But other than that, they did a really good job with the color separation. And then I said something about a different sheet, and here it is. And this is really what sets the Gundam Thunderbolt, well, high-grade Gundam Thunderbolt, apart from high-grade Universal Century. We get a master grade-like sticker sheet, and this is significantly more than some of the earlier master grades, and this is really, really nice. And these are the stickers I was talking about. These are supposed to go on there in case you would want to paint this, which is probably not a bad idea. And then we're also getting the little V for his crotch. Unfortunately, this one doesn't really like to stay on that well, but hey. So overall, this is already starting to look really, really good with only one little problem. Then going on to the articulation, it goes up, down, chicken movement forwards and backwards, and rotates around. What I also really like is the neck uses the usual polycap, but there's that mesh plastic on there, which gives it a lot more detail. So that's really cool that they did that. Then the arms rotate around all the way, go up about that far. There's a little hinge here, goes a little bit forward, a little bit backwards, and then it's on a ball joint in there. So goes nicely forwards, nicely backwards, a little bit up, and then goes up about that far in total. And the arm will rotate around. And then another little disappointment here is this seam line is really obvious, and when you're moving it around, it just seems to split apart even further, so you'll constantly have to push that in. So my advice is you might want to glue that, because like I said, if you move it around enough, that's going to open up and look pretty ugly. Another part that might need a little bit of glue is the red part at his collar. There we go, that wasn't hard at all to do, so I'm just gonna leave that off. And it's just really unfortunate, but when you look at the bottom side, it doesn't really look like there's a lot to connect it. So yeah, a little bit of glue there will fix that. And elbows are double jointed, nice range of movement. Also, really nice little touch at the back there. Hands are on ball joints, wiggle around, turn around, and do everything a ball joint does. Then the waist rotates around all the way without any problems at all, even when you have the giant backpack attached to it. Then it's on a little ball joint, gives it a little bit forwards and backwards movement until it decides to pop off. A little bit extra movement there, which is always really nice. Then the side skirts are on ball joints, go out about that far. And then the legs will go really nicely outwards. And they could go even further until the ball joints. Well, they decided to stay in, and that's really sweet. Ah, there we go. I knew those ball joints were about to pop off any moment. So yeah, if you're willing to risk it a little bit, they can go out pretty far. And gotta put that, I'll put that back in a second. Then the front skirts are actually molded together, but one of the first times that the manual actually tells you to separate them. You go forwards, nice like that. Backwards, not quite as much, but hey, what you can do is you have a little swivel joint here, and then they will go backwards quite a lot more. And click that back in place. We'll rotate around, bend at the knee at 2 joints. And considering that there is a quite big part there, I'd say that this is still pretty impressive for a double jointed knee, so good job there. The legs, well, the feet are on a double ball joint. We have a ball joint at the top and one at the bottom, so forwards like that at the top, and a little bit of flip-flop going on, backwards a little bit, side to side nicely, we'll rotate around all the way, and of course the ankle guard goes up and down. So articulation seems to be pretty damn good on this guy. And now we're getting to the main meat of the machine, the accessories. First, let's start off with the more conventional accessories we get. We get 2 of these shield connectors. So we can, if you'd want to, connect the shields in the traditional way, just pegs in there. Works the same on the other arm, and it doesn't seem to be hindered as much by the shoulder armor, which was one thing I was worrying about. But now, of course, I highly doubt anyone is going to use that, so you're getting 2 spare shield connectors. Hey, I broke one of my jig, and so that's going to be useful. What you will use them for is bring in the trigger for the double beam cannon. So you have to connect that first, and then you'll see that there's, well, this one is a hole for the peg, and then there's a peg on here. Just have to line them up and put them in. There we go. And then there's a peg on here as well, which is for the shield to go on. And we're already starting to get an idea of why this is the full armor Gundam. Same goes on the left. Simply put this in there. Go, put on the missile launcher. Line up the pegs. And you might not have noticed this, but this is actually horizontal. That one is vertical, so you cannot swap them around on the triggers. However, if you really want to swap them around, the pegs that connect to the arms are the same. So then you could swap them around if you just exclude the triggers, which you can do. Then once again, we'll attach the shield there. And that goes in there. There we go. And like I said, this is already starting to look like something we would consider a full armor Gundam. Then there is one more thing. We're gonna replicate the box art here. There are also beam sabers on there, but right now he cannot wield them. But if we simply remove this, and if you have a look at this little setup here, yes, it is one piece, but technically this would be able to simply move a little bit to the left, freeing up the hand to grab onto the beam sabers and hollow parts. So we're putting that to the side, grabbing the left holding hand, which is the right one. Where did I put the left one? Here it is. So put this on here. Grab the beam saber, which is held in there by a peg, and we're also getting 2 very nice master grade clear beams. Just put them in there. Unfortunately though, when we put the beams in the hand, they do kind of tend to fall out when they're just normally in the hands. Looks like they're staying a little bit better now, but you can see that they're a little bit on the loose side. It could have been a tighter fit, but they still do the job. So then we simply peg this in there. There we go. And you can do the exact same thing with the right hand. You just remove the trigger, then clip it in there, and there you go. Just be careful with those little pegs. They're a little bit on the fragile side. But I don't think you could canonically remove this and still have it be able to fire, because this doesn't really look like it's supposed to go to, well, to move out of the way. But hey, this is a model kit, you can do it. Then it has become the time to introduce the giant backpack. Also a little bit mobility going on. Cannon goes up and down, missile launcher also up and down a little bit. These, when they're, well, in their collapsed mode or their storage mode, do not move for one reason or another. They decided, well, you're not going to use them, they won't need to be articulated either. So yeah, also really nice attention to detail here. We've got 3 missiles there. We've got 6 energy packs, which go on to, well, which would technically go on the back here. But they are all molded together, and that thing isn't going anywhere either. Then once we put this on, surprise, surprise, it's actually still able to, when we move it around a little bit, to stand upright. And that is my biggest surprise with this model kit. And then it's gonna become even easier to balance once we take out the stored manipulator arms and replace them with the extended ones. But we get the same problem as with the gym. When we look at it from this side, it's only a little bit hollow, but when we turn them around, they're as hollow as a strawberry. And if you got that reference, you, sir, are number one. So yeah, I've said it with the gym, this really doesn't fly in a modern high-grade kit, and even less so if we're talking about a main mobile suit. A Gundam, no less. So let's just put that in here. And just as with the gym, these are not articulated, but hey, well, if they were articulated, they'd probably be a flimsy mess, so I can easily let the non-articulation slide, but making them hollow and non-articulated, well, you just went a little bit too far. No, I'm gonna put this in here, and in case you're thinking, well, I'd want the poses of the gym's or manipulator arms were better, well, the good news is you can change them. They use the exact same connectors, both at the end and at the beginning, so no problem there. It's just that they're a different color. These are gray, whereas the ones on the gym were white. Just put that in there. Also a little bit of movement. They go up about that far only because for some reason they decided to put plastic in the way, but if you cut out the plastic, they will actually go a little bit further back. Then they will also rotate around here all the way, but yeah, the can is getting a bit in the way. Then with the shields, they will also rotate around. So you can get it in quite a lot of poses, even though it's not articulated, and this beam saber is really getting in the way of the camera. So yeah, we can kind of get the picture of why they would call this the full armor Gundam. Because, yeah. And the funny thing is, I think that I kind of like him more with less armor on. I mean, the more I looked at him, the way he was in the beginning, the cooler he got. And now I really feel like just hooking him up with a normal backpack, like the one you'd see on the normal Gundams, and just giving him less overkill accessories, and I think that would be awesome looking, really. Then we're still not done with accessories because, well, God, stay in there. So as you see, there is a reason why they give you an extra peg to attach it with, but if you just leave it in there, it's not gonna go anywhere. And then the biggest accessory of this kit, well, the biggest help accessory of this kit is a stand. And it would have been cooler if it was a bit longer to give it extra support, but hey. And how this moves is you simply slide this out and you see it has indentation in there, so it's not gonna become flimsy due to age, and this is a pretty heavy kit for a high grade, so that is very important. Let me just put them on there. And there we go. The full armor Gundam in all of its glory. And how is that for a high grade? I think any Zaku's encountering this machine would just self-destruct. And this is probably one of the more impressive looking high grades, other than the XS and the S Gundam, and perhaps the Double Zeta. But man, this is one hell of an impressive looking machine. And we're still getting one more, well, it's not really an accessory, it is a mini manga. And when we turn it sideways, it becomes obvious that it is quite a thin thing when we compare it to A normal manga, well, significantly thinner. So let's put that. I went and have a look at what's inside, and we find a little bit of everything. Some nice color pages as is usual with these mangas. Leaf round, story introduction, few of the characters. Here is the pilot of the Gundam. Some line art. Ooh, Jim. The Zaku high mobility type. The reuse, the pilot of the Zaku. Leaf round, a little bit of a story. Some action scenes. Though not quite as long as you would like, but hey, it's a freebie we're getting. We're getting some sketches, so it's a really interesting little freebie we're getting, and this, I think, is a look inside, yeah, the Bandai factory. So like I said, there's all kinds of various stuff in here. Pictures, and here we're getting, might this be an advertisement for the Gunpla? Surely they wouldn't. And here you see the Gundam without the giant-ass backpack on. And like I said, this actually looks pretty damn good. And I really wonder how the full armored Gundam would look as, well, with just a normal backpack and with, well, normal accessories. Talking about the backpack, my one final, well, gripe with this machine is that unfortunately the backpack of the full armored Gundam uses a different connector than the backpack used by the Jim. So you cannot simply interchange them. So if you want a full armored Jim or a light armored Gundam, you're gonna have to do some cutting and gluing. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And the answer is definitely yes. It's not a resounding yes, because, well, there are still these little annoyances. They're not really bad things, they're just annoying things that could have been easily fixed. But the good news is that they are, of course, overshadowed by all the awesomeness this model kit has to offer. First and foremost, this guy looks simply amazing. It looks gorgeous whether you decide to have him all suited up like this or whether you want him a little bit less well armed and more a light armor variant. So whichever one it is you prefer, you will definitely find something that, well, feeds your need. Because frankly, I wasn't expecting me to really like this full armor thing, and when I stripped them of all the accessories, it still looked great, and I loved it like that. Really wasn't expecting that. So fantastic. The looks great, and he really puts the full in full armor. So we've got great looks, great accessories. I mean, do you even need any more accessories than this? We've got great articulation still going on. Those legs, as I said, the back was a little bit on the bulky side, but still really nice articulation. And that is the point of articulation that really killed the high mobility Zakus. Seems like this guy managed to get around that. So pretty much all the important things are a plus. Then those little annoyances I talked about, well, you probably still remember them. We've got a little bit of hollow parts going on. This one really not that important because this isn't going to be shown anyways, but then we of course have those arm binders, which depending on how you're posing him will be more or less obvious. So you might just want to find a way of posing it that makes it less obvious. So that's something that, well, you could always say, hey, fill it with some putty, but that's something that we shouldn't have to do in 2014. Well, to be completely honest with the kit, the end of 2013. But that doesn't make much difference now, does it? So yeah, that was a little bit annoying, but overall, and then we of course have those stickers on the shield, and these, doesn't matter which side of the argument you're on, these simply should have been parts. There's really no excuse for them. And another thing that I don't think I really mentioned is that some of the stickers, not just these, but they didn't quite seem the correct size. Like the little black ones on here, they seemed a little bit too big, the opposite of these, and a few of those other little red thruster stickers, like the red ones here on the sides, they also seem to be like a tiny bit too big. So that's just something that struck me as a little bit weird. If you're going to include the stickers, why not make them the right size? That seems like something, once again, the model kits from the 90s seem to have, and something you'd expect them to have fixed here. And oh yeah, the final little annoyance is that these upper arms do like to get separated a little bit, but hey, you just push them in or you glue it. Same goes for the red piece there. So overall, the annoyances are just that. They are annoying things which we all wish would have been fixed but weren't. So overall, this kit is fantastic, and I really wasn't expecting to like this kit as much as I did, simply because, well, it's when you just look at it for the first time, when you looked at the illustrations, it looks like a clusterfuck. They just threw everything on there. Hey, we've got shields. Throw on the shields. Throw on the double beam cannons. Throw on everything we've got here. But somehow they managed to find the perfect balance between having a fully armed, fully armored mobile suit and still having it some little bit of elegance in it. Though I gotta say, just having him stand here like this, these now really look like they were just thrown on her butt. When you have him in a more actiony pose, that is definitely fixed. Also, kudos to having all of this crap on his back, but still having him able to stand up pretty damn good. I mean, hey, I can even nudge him, and I have to nudge him pretty hard for him to fall over. So yeah, this is overall still a really well engineered kit. And then let's not forget about those marking stickers. That really adds to the overall feel of this model kit, makes it feel much more like a monster grade. Also adds to the realism, because these are some really nice decals going on there. These are of course the usual ones. Hey, watch out for that, watch out for this. A little bit of text going on there, a little bit of text here. So overall, oh yeah, one thing I of course have to mention is the price. Because, well, first of all, the price is it's definitely worth the price, but 2,700 yen is still expensive for just a high grade, so make of that what you want. Though, if you ask me, 2,700 yen, when compared to other bulky mobile suits, such as the Double Zeta Gundam, which went for 2,300 yen, I think that overall it's worth it. Also, when you consider that it did come with a stand, something we should really see more often with mobile suits, especially if they're the bulky kind, which really need a stand. It came with a little manga, came with a little tidbit, so I'd say it's absolutely worth it, but still a bit expensive for a high grade. So, size comparisons, we got whatever. Size comparisons, putting him next to the Double Zeta Gundam, and we can see that if you take full height into account and the overall bulkiness, it's a very good fight. I mean, the Double Zeta Gundam has more the vertical bulkiness, whereas the full armor Gundam has more horizontal bulkiness. But overall, I gotta say, full armor Gundam wins out. Then when we compare him next to the Zaku 3, looks like the Zaku 3 has met its match. I mean, yeah, the Zaku 3 still has the bulk, but seems like Full Armor Gundam is a little bit bigger, when taking full height into account, a little bit wider, and overall just a bit more bulky than the old Zaku 3 here. And then of course the comparison we have to draw is the original Gundam. And well, there. One of these is more well armed than the other. And final comparison here, of course, is the Thunderbolt Gym. And that's all for this review. See you guys next time. Definitely pick him up.